All right, picture this. You walk into work, you've got your coffee, you feel ready to tackle the day. Then the boss calls you in. Big project, new lead. And the expectations, they are, well, they're sky high.
Ah, the classic scenario.
Totally. We're talking top-notch quality, done yesterday, basically.
Yep.
And, oh, yeah, it needs to cost next to nothing. Sound familiar?
Oh, absolutely. That sinking feeling.
Exactly. Your first thought is probably, is this even possible? Or am I updating my resume?
Right, or just run screaming.
That feeling, though, that moment, that's exactly what we're going to dive into today.
Yeah.
Our mission for this deep dive is to unpack what some people call an immutable law for projects, like any project.
It applies everywhere.
Building software, planning a party, fixing your kitchen, you name it. Somebody even called it the E=MC² of project management.
That's a bold statement, but honestly, it kind of fits.
So what is this fundamental law?
It boils down to something really simple on the surface, but incredibly profound when you dig in. Good, fast, cheap, pick any two.
Pick any two.
That's it. It's not just, a cute saying. It's a reality check. And today, we're going to explore why you can really only hit two of those targets: quality, time, cost, and what that means for, well, pretty much anything you try to do.
Okay, so E=MC² of project management. Why such a, grand comparison? Is it really that fundamental?
I think it is, yeah. It's a great question. Because just like Einstein's equation shows this unbreakable link between energy and mass,
Right.
this principle reveals a similar, inescapable truth about the limits in any project. So you're always dealing with finite stuff. You only have so much time, so much money, so many people's effort available.
Makes sense. Resources aren't infinite.
Exactly. So you just can't keep pushing on all three dials, making it better, faster, and cheaper forever. Something has to give. It's a law because it's based on those real-world limits, not just some manager's rule. It applies whether you're like building a bridge or just trying to get dinner on the table quickly.
Okay, I'm with you. So back to that nightmare project from the boss. How do we start dealing with these constraints? What's the first lever people usually try to pull?
Well, often the first instinct, especially under pressure, is just throw more people at it, right? Increase the head count.
Yeah, seems logical. More hands, less work, or faster work, maybe better work.
It sounds intuitive. And sometimes it works out that way. Adding more people can have real upsides, particularly if your main goals are good and fast.
Okay, how so?
Well, with more people, you can potentially get better quality. You've got more folks for quality checks, more code reviews if it's tech, more eyes on the design, deeper research maybe. That often leads to a stronger outcome.
Right, more brain power.
And yes, it can be faster. The old saying, many hands make light work. If you have tasks that can actually be done in parallel, more people can definitely speed up completion.
Okay, so you get good and fast, but I'm sensing a pretty significant but coming. What's the catch?
Oh, absolutely. Here's the rub, and it's a big one. It is definitely not cheap.
Right, people cost money.
Exactly. Those extra team members need salaries, benefits. Then there's the overhead managing more people, maybe more office space, software licenses. It all adds up fast. So yeah, you might get a better product faster, but it's going to cost you significantly more. You're making a very conscious trade, sacrificing cheap to get good and fast.
That part seems clear enough. More people, more cost.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier, sometimes adding more people actually slows things down. That feels wrong.
Yeah, and this is where it gets, really fascinating. And like you said, counterintuitive. The research, the real-world experience, it all points to this critical idea, the point of diminishing returns.
Okay.
There comes a moment where adding yet another person to the team doesn't just fail to help, it can actually make things slower. And this isn't just a theory, it's a known thing, been documented for ages.
How does that work?
Well, the classic analogy, and it's pretty vivid, comes from software development originally, but applies broadly. It goes like this. A woman takes 9 months to have a baby, but you can't get 9 women to have a baby in 1 month.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that paints a picture.
It really does, right? Some tasks just cannot be split up neatly among more people, especially complex stuff that needs a lot of communication or things that have to happen in a specific order or work that needs deep individual focus.
Like coordinating everyone becomes the bottleneck.
Precisely. Imagine the chaos if you tried to have, say, 1,000 people write one line of code versus just one person doing it. The coordination, the communication overhead, merging the work, resolving conflicts. It would take way longer and be far more complex. The simple math on a spreadsheet doesn't account for human interaction and task dependencies. It's those communication lines that explode, not just the output.
Wow. Okay, that analogy really drives it home. It makes you totally rethink just throwing bodies at a problem to make it fast. So let's pivot. What about the second parameter? What if it's not people but time? What happens if you can just extend the deadline?
Giving more time. This flips the equation again. If you can push out the timeline, the potential upsides shift immediately to good and cheap.
Okay, good makes sense. Less rush means more care.
Exactly. When the clock isn't ticking quite so loudly, people can be more thorough, they can really dig into the details, double-check their work, maybe rethink an approach, refine things. That almost always leads to better quality. It allows for that deeper work, better testing, things that get squeezed out when you're rushing.
Right. But how does more time make it cheap? Wouldn't longer projects cost more overall?
That's the part that's maybe less obvious. With more time, there's less pressure to, say, hire a bunch of extra people quickly or pay hefty overtime rates. The work can often be done by a smaller team working at a sustainable pace.
So fewer resource spikes.
Precisely. You're not scrambling for expensive, specialized help to hit some crazy deadline. You're not paying premiums for rushed materials or expedited shipping. You can plan resources more effectively over the longer haul, maybe even use less experienced and therefore less costly people who have the time to learn and contribute properly. So yes, it can definitely be more cost-effective.
But the trade-off is crystal clear. It's just not fast.
Yeah.
By definition.
By definition. If you're taking more time, you are sacrificing speed. That's the direct trade.
Okay, but is there a danger there too? I mean, I've seen projects where deadlines keep getting pushed and they just seem to drift. Does giving more time ever backfire?
You've definitely hit on a really important nuance. While it's inherently not fast, the real challenge is how that extra time is actually used. Our sources point to something called Parkinson's Law. Heard of it?
Vaguely.
Yeah.
Work expands to fill the time available.
That's the one. Without really disciplined project management, just having more time can mean the work stretches out unnecessarily. People might become a bit complacent, or they might gold plate things, add features that aren't really needed, or just fill the time with less important tasks.
So the cheap advantage could evaporate.
It absolutely could. So more time isn't a magic bullet, it's a strategic choice, but it needs strong planning and discipline to actually deliver on being good and cheap.
That makes sense. And I guess there's also the cost of delay itself.
Oh, that's a huge factor, especially in business. The opportunity cost. If you're developing a product, taking longer, even if it's high quality and cheap to make, means you might miss the market window. Competitors get there first. You lose potential revenue. That's a hidden cost of not being fast.
Right. Okay. Discipline is key, even with more time. So that brings us to the third scenario. What if speed is absolutely everything? Get it done ASAP, no matter what. What gives then?
Okay, the increased speed imperative. When speed is the #1 goal, well, the project will be fast. That's the whole point.
Check. Fast.
And maybe surprisingly, it can also look cheap, at least on the surface, in the short term.
How does that work? Faster usually sounds expensive.
Because you cut corners everywhere. Processes get rushed or skipped entirely. Thoroughness goes out the window. If all that matters is hitting that deadline, you're not spending time or money on detailed quality checks, extensive testing, careful documentation, user feedback. You just power through.
You're running roughshod over the process, as you mentioned earlier.
Exactly that phrase. You minimize time and effort on anything that doesn't directly push towards that finish line right now.
So you get fast, and it looks cheap up front. But I feel another big but coming. What's the inevitable consequence?
The consequence is huge and often painful down the line. It is unequivocally not good.
Quality takes the hit.
Every single time. When you rush like that, when you bypass all the checks and balances, quality suffers dramatically. The output might be quick and seem cheap initially, but it's almost guaranteed to have flaws, bugs, major shortcomings.
And that can cost more later.
Oh, massively more. This is where concepts like technical debt really bite you, especially in tech. But the idea applies broadly. You rush something out the door, maybe poorly written code, maybe an untested design, maybe incomplete research. You shipped fast and cheap. Great. But you've basically taken out a loan.
A loan against quality.
Precisely. And that loan accrues interest. You pay it back later, often with compound interest, through endless bug fixes, performance nightmares, security holes, customer complaints. maybe even product recalls or complete failures. The thing you built fast and cheap becomes incredibly expensive and difficult to maintain, update, or even just live with. Cutting corners for speed always has a long-term price, impacting reliability, reputation, everything.
Wow. Okay, that really ties it all together.
Yeah.
These three levers, good, fast, cheap. It seems undeniably clear you really can only effectively pull two. Understanding this isn't just project management jargon, is it? It feels like it's about managing expectations, making plans that aren't doomed from the start, and
Sure.
just avoiding a whole lot of pain and frustration.
Exactly. Whether you're at work, planning a wedding, whatever it
If
is.
you want it fast and good, it won't be cheap. If you want good and cheap, forget about fast. And if you demand fast and cheap, well, don't expect it to be good.
It's the core trade-off, absolutely. And knowing this is so important, especially today when, everyone wants everything perfect instantly and for free.
Yes.
So we really encourage you, the listener, to think about this. Reflect on your own experiences. Where have you seen this pick any two rule play out in
Yeah.
your job, maybe a hobby, even just planning a vacation? What happens when those trade-offs get ignored? Thinking critically about these limits is vital because the pressure is often there for all three, but reality almost always forces a choice.
It really does.
Yeah.
So our sources call this an immutable law of the universe,
Hmm.
which makes me wonder, and maybe makes you wonder too, is there an exception? Is there truly a way to get all three, genuinely good, genuinely fast, and genuinely cheap all at once without some hidden catch or future cost?
That's the provocative question, isn't it?
If you think you've cracked it, if you found that magical unicorn project or method that delivers all three without compromise, we'd genuinely love to hear about it. How does your experience challenge this fundamental idea? Let us know. Share your thoughts, your stories, maybe even your own rules of thumb in the comments below.
Please do.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today.
Yeah, thank you. And we hope you'll keep thinking about these ideas. Maybe start noticing these trade-offs playing out around you at work or just in daily life, and really ponder that challenge. Can you truly achieve all three? We'd love for you to share your opinions and any suggestions in the comments. And hey, if you found this discussion valuable, we'd really appreciate it if you'd give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and maybe click that notification bell too.
And share it with anyone else you think might find this useful.
Yeah.
It helps others discover the deep dive and helps us keep bringing you this kind of content.
Absolutely. Thanks again for listening.